Yes, people, what's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and this is your match preview. It's Everton against Southampton at St Mary's, 3 PM kickoff on Saturday. And it's nice to be back, and it's nice to be back after a decent performance and a good result against West Ham a couple of weeks ago now. A game where, yes, I think West Ham could have scored in the game. They had a chance. Ben Rama hit the post, etc. You know, there's a couple of balls into the box. But on the whole, Everton have defended well. And going forward, we looked a little bit different. We looked like we had a bit more bite. We looked like we put the ball in the box a little bit more. We looked like we had a vocal point to a degree. I'm not going to say Malpay is a complete striker because he's not. But he did offer something. There was more strength and depth in midfield. We're seeing players like Takore coming back in. You know, Tom Davis was mentioned in the press conference, and you know, whether you think he should be here or not is kind of redundant because the performances he's put in this season when he has played, he's played all right. So the strength and depth is looking a little bit better as well. Everton go into this game a fairly decent run as well. You know, Everton are, I think it's unbeaten now in 5 Premier League games. A run of games where Everton have had to show resilience. In some games, they've had to score late on to get a point, or they've had to fight. They've got themselves in front. Maybe they've been sloppy in defence very occasionally. They've had a couple of goals disallowed for offside in games such as Leeds, I think it was, and Liverpool. So, you know, Everton's start to the season could look significantly different if it was literally, you know, within a foot of being onside. You know, it really is. It really is that different. Everton could have 4 more points. We could be on 11 points, put us in the top 6 or whatever it is, etc. You know, there is real positives to where we are right now. And, you know, from an Everton fan's perspective, I thought it was really refreshing about what Frank was saying. They were talking a lot about the World Cup in the press conference, and that was doing my head in because, you know, I've got my opinions on Southgate, and that's separate to Everton. I want to know about Everton. I want to know who's been training well. I want to know about injuries. I want to, you know, I'm not bothered about England until we're playing in the World Cup. So I was happy. It was good news that Pickford is back as well, and that's great. And it's also good news that I'm back on here doing a new video for you because I appreciate it's been a while. But the problem is, these international breaks, there's not loads to talk about. It's not great. And then all of a sudden you get bang. You've got a game coming up on the weekend. You get breaking news that Kaminsky, apparently he's still interested in buying Everton Football Club for a figure of around 400 million. And that works out about right if you think about it, because Everton expressed that they wanted to speak to another sort of another group about naming rights and about a £545 million deal, etc. Whatever that really means. I'm not some magical accountant with my numbers and all that. But, you know, if the offer was £1 billion, now it's 400 and we're trying to get naming rights outsourced. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So it'll be interesting to see what could happen with this. It'll be interesting to see how far down the line this is. Lots of people have said it's fairly advanced. Some people have said it's not. To me, it doesn't really matter. It is very obvious, though, in my opinion, that Moshiri wants to sell the club because these talks would have gone away. He easily could have gone, look, forget it. I'm not interested. But what he tried to do is he tried to sell the club and fundamentally the stadium construction. And now he's not fussed about trying to sell the stadium construction because he thinks he's sorted that, so he's just selling the club. Do you get what I mean? Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's get into the game anyway. Southampton, they are such a weird team. And I don't mean that as a negative to Southampton, any fans that are here, but they're so weird because you just don't know who's going to turn up. You know, they can put in fantastic performances or they can look like they're getting relegated. There is literally, the chasm is mad when it comes to Southampton as a football club. And, you know, Everton will go there. They were disappointed last season because, you know, a lot of people said that we were poor last season at Southampton. We could have been 2-0 up after 10 minutes. We should have had a penalty, if people remember, very early on, and we didn't. I thought we were all right in that game. I thought the first half we were all right. The second half, yeah, we fell apart. But Lampard made a comment about it being a pretty poor game. I think it was from both sides. It's just Everton were worse. Everton will go into this game, I'm not going to say the better team, but they're certainly going to be more confident. They're going to be more pressing with the ball. They're going to be able to play through the lines a little bit better. We've already saw the addition of players like Onana, Iwobi being able to play on the pivot in the middle of the park, Ghana. So there's that strength in midfield. We've seen Connor Cody and Tarkowski, who have been, let's be honest, they've been really good since they've signed. They've been brilliant. You've then got Mikalenko, who will be back in the side, I'm assuming. He did pick up a knock on international duty, but I think he's fine now. You've got Pickford, who's coming back into the side. The only negative from this international break has been Patterson, who is probably out now for 4 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And that is a shame, because he's been playing really well. He's defended tenaciously. He hasn't been caught out of position, or when he has, he's made that recovery. He's bombed on. He's had a couple of chances as well. There was certainly one in one game. I think it was Forest, where he shoots instead of passing. But again, that's, that first Premier League moment. You can't really hold that against him. But, he's looked really solid. And then you're sort of hoping that the front three start to do a little bit more. Neil Maupay's done fine. He's came in, he scored a goal. He's done what he's paid to do, essentially, score a goal. But I do think Gordon and Demarai Gray need to do a little bit more. I think, I know they've chipped in with a goal apiece, or Gordon's got a couple. Gray might have, of course. Gray got a couple. No, what? I know they've chipped in, but we need to see a bit more creativity as well. We need to see them breaking that line. We need to see them delivering the ball. We need to see them from outside the box shooting. Iwobi has been sensational, and I think he's got the most assists for us this season with 3. So I'm really happy with Iwobi. So Everton go into this game, as I say, confident. And I think Southampton will realise that they've got a tough game on themselves, because this is a Southampton side that isn't brilliant. As I say, they're so up and down. There's such a weird relationship with the players and the managers, because, sometimes you hear that Hassan Hüttl's lost the dressing room and then he's manager of the year. It's bonkers. In terms of Southampton, they've obviously got some talented players. They've got players that can create problems. They've got Che Adams, Armstrong. These are players that are very decent players. They've got a robust centre half. They've got a decent goalkeeper. They're fairly strong in midfield. They're not a poor side. It's just about Everton. What we've got to do is we've got to get the ball into the middle and pick them holes. It will be interesting who plays on the right-hand side. We all suspect it'll be Coleman, and I suspect it'll be Coleman. But we have had a really, really impressive young lad, who I'm pretty sure hasn't gone out on loan, in Stanley Mills as well. And I have no issue with him playing, because from what I saw in pre-season and his little cameos that we've seen over, in the cup, etc., and places, he's looked fine. He's looked very good, very competitive, very quick, aggressive, can cross. Now, if that energy is needed, rather than Coleman maybe, who let's be nice but not nice, he's been a great leader. No, he hasn't. He hasn't been a great leader, but he's been a good servant to Everton Football Club. He scored some really important goals. He had the engine to go up and down, and he can play right centre half as well. So he's been useful. He's been a great servant. All that positive stuff. But I do worry about throwing him into games where he's going to be going up against younger, fitter, more aggressive players that just maybe will be able to twist him. Because that's what tends to happen with Coleman. He gets stuck in no man's land. He gets twisted left, right and centre. So we've got to hope that doesn't happen. So, yeah, that's where I am. In terms of score prediction, I think Everton win. I actually believe Everton win this game. I think Everton win. I'm going with 1-0. I'm going with 1-0. I think Everton win 1-0. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a performance where I sit there and go, yes. A win away from home would be great. a win at a decent place like St Mary's would be great. You know, it's not like we're going to bottom of the league and we're getting a result. These guys will not be bottom. They'll be a decent side this season. So let's just chip away. Let's go and get them 3 points. Let's be positive. Let's be a bit more aggressive than we usually are. And let's go and win the game. 1-0, 2-0. I don't care. Let's just win the game. Guys, it's a pleasure as always. I will be back for the match reaction after the game, of course, obviously. And, yeah, I shall see you soon. You'll also be pleased to know I will be at the Manchester United game next Sunday.